Whew. Hey, Griff. Oh, we're live, and I gotta yell at the dog right away. What's up, everybody? I'm just testing this out because I'm doing something new, trying something a little new here. If you've been following my... Callie! If you've been following my live streaming or anything, you know I've done Twitch and stuff before for games. I've never done live streaming for music or for guitar. Tally! And I'm still yelling at the dog. Also, what's up, Dean? So I've also never really live streamed directly to my Facebook profile. So all my Facebook friends are probably like, what's going on here? But I have done live streaming. I have a bunch of stuff for my live streaming setup, thanks to when I used to live stream for games and stuff. And I still am probably gonna get back into doing some of that, live streaming some Warzone and stuff like that. But I was thinking recently, like, what if I tried to do that for guitar? Like, what if I basically morphed my setup into live streaming some guitar stuff? And I figured, I'd just live stream some of my practice sessions, because as many of you know, I'm now playing guitar for Luke Mills and the Highway Drifters. And I thought some of you guys might like to see not only some of my practice sessions for that, some of the songs that we've been working on, but also on some of these streams, I'm probably going to go through my actual pedal board, my live rig for playing shows with Luke, in case you're interested in seeing that. Not hooked up to that right now. That is sitting in my bag right there, but I'll take you guys through that and show you guys that at some point. So yeah, and then basically, hey, I'm live streaming. Oh, I'm sorry. You're fine. So basically, I'll take you guys through that at some point, but right now I'm hooked up through Archetype Plenty, my all-time favorite plugin, and I've been working on my setups in OBS. I'll show you what I got going on here so you guys can see kind of my setup for playing guitar. Got some different cameras set up. You'll be able to hear my guitar audio. Been working on some of my presets in Archetype Plenty. I've also never done this before with my guitar setup and stuff like that. So this is kind of a quality control stream, just getting used to this whole format, and making sure the hardware is handling it fine, the sound's coming through fine, because obviously you can't really, you can't really stream guitar stuff if the sound's not working and it doesn't sound good. Hi, Valerio. How's it going? So, like I said, I'm set up with Archetype Plenty here. This is one of my custom presets that I built within Archetype Plenty. I'll take you through the details of that in case you're interested here. I'm playing through my custom Kiesel Aries right now. Beautiful guitar. I can also talk you through the specs of this guitar if you're interested. It is gorgeous. And part of the adventure of playing with Luke and the Highway Drifters. If you don't know anything about Luke Mills and the Highway Drifters, he's a country artist, kind of a country rock artist, kind of in that Keith Urban wheelhouse with a lot of his stuff. Keith Urban, Dierks Bentley, stuff like that, which is, it's music that I grew up listening to. I'm going to have to adjust this because it's driving me nuts that my face is partially cut out. So let me adjust this screen really quick. All right, there we go. That's a little better. That camera's there just so you can see what my fingers are doing on the fretboard. But anyway, so I got this guitar because what I typically play, what my kind of music is instrumental metal. Obviously, Kiesels like this work really well for instrumental metal. But this guitar is a little bit of a chameleon, and if you know what you're doing, you can make it sound like all kinds of things. So I've got the Illusionist pickup in the bridge, which is Lee McKinney of Born of Osiris and his own stuff. Lee McKinney's signature pickup with Kiesel. And then this is a Holdsworth pickup in the neck. So already it's a pretty versatile setup. Both these pickups split really well, and I love my split coil sounds. That's the Illusionist pickup split. So yeah, but I can also talk about in these streams how I kind of worked with my effects and my gear to make this bad boy, which is obviously a metal machine, but how I kind of use some different approaches to make it sound very country and kind of almost emulate a Telecaster sound or a Strat sound for certain stuff. Because that's been a lot of fun. It's been a fun process kind of working that out and figuring that out. So yeah, let's jump into Archetype Pliny here a little bit. Seems like the stream and everything is working well so far. So let's just go ahead and switch my screen. So you can tell I actually created these patches, this series of patches, specifically for my Kiesel Aries because of the name. I am kind of unoriginal about how I name my patches. Sometimes, some of them have a little more creative names. But let's just go through this a little bit. Let's start with just the normal Archetype Pliny settings. This is a pretty heavily compressed sound, as you can tell. The compressor that comes in Archetype Pliny is just so amazing. It's hard not to abuse it sometimes. I'm using the overdrive, though. There's very little overdrive. It's almost at zero. I'm using it as more of a boost in front of the amp. And so then we go over to the amp here. It's the clean amp, but the gain is pretty high. And the bright switch is on, going for more of a kind of edge breakup sound. So not super bassy, pretty pushed in the mids and trebles, a lot of presence. So it's really kind of almost a little bit past the edge breakup, and it really reacts well with the split settings between the coils. yeah, that's the clean amp settings. I'm really using it almost more as a crunch than a clean. That's the bridge pickup split again. So that's the amp settings. The EQ on this one, I didn't really do anything with it, just left the EQ flat across the board. Where the real magic comes together for this particular patch is I just looked down here at I'm not used to having a camera down there for my fretboard, so I just realized my fingers are just sitting down there. But the real magic for this patch comes together with the custom IRs. The IRs are impulse responses that basically simulate the mic in the cabinet. The ones that come standard with Archetype Plenty are fantastic, but I also got the Zilla Cabs pack from ML Sound Labs. I know for those of you that aren't guitar people, this just sounds like gibberish. That's fine. So I'm basically using the H75 cab on the left and the V30 on the right to kind of mix it up and get a little bit of that vintage flair that really just backs up the single coils and helps the single coils stand out more. And so the H75 on the left is mic'd with a 121 ribbon mic, and the V30 on the right is mic'd with a 421 dynamic mic. I've just been experimenting with the ML Sound Labs impulse responses for a while, and I find that having the more modern dynamic mic on the vintage cab and having the ribbon mic on the more modern cab really creates some interesting dynamic and interplay with those split coils. String notes with the split coils, man. They're just great. And then last but not least, in Archetype Plenty, of course, we've got the delay and the reverb. Pretty dry delay. I'll turn the reverb off so you can hear just the delay for a second. It does ping pong and stick around a little longer, but that's because it is very dry, so it doesn't saturate very much as a delay. So it does ping pong and hang around a little longer because it's a more clean patch. I'm not as worried about, things just getting woolly and clogged up. But the level does go down really fast, and it's a very dry delay. You can kind of hear that. And then I'll turn the delay off and turn the reverb on. It's also a dry reverb, which is not super typical of how I do my reverbs in Archetype Plenty. I typically like a very wet reverb because the reverb pedal in Archetype Plenty is it's genius on any setting, but it does wet delay really well. But I have it backed off, and I have the time backed off over here a little bit too. And I'm high passing and low passing fairly aggressively. So I can give it a lot of space, but it can still be dry and it won't overwhelm the overall sound or the quicker note changes too much. It's a pretty roomy, spacey reverb, but it doesn't get too wet. It doesn't get too muddy. So it still retains that very bright, crunchy sound for the split coil stuff mainly. So you kick the delay on there with the reverb. Sounds really nice. So this is kind of my clean crunch patch that I built specifically for the Kiesel Aries. Let's open this bad boy up a little bit. Let's go from my clean patch to my crunch / overdriven patch. This is all my custom presets for my user presets for Archetype Plenty. I have a lot. But this is the Aries Rising Mark II patch. So it's basically the same principle. When I build a set of patches, so like clean, crunch, and then overdrive, full-on distortion, I build them along the same theme. So the amps change and some of the amps settings change to kind of maintain the theme of the sound that I have, the idea for the sound that I have in my head. But the compression, overdrive, delay, and reverb will be somewhat similar to kind of carry the theme of the sound through my clean crunch and full-on overdriven distorted patches. So this would be like my crunch or my overdriven. What's up, Rich? How's it going? So yeah, it's utilizing the, it's going good. That's good to hear. But yeah, I'm utilizing Archetype Plenty's fantastic crunch amp. Feedback on your most recent song? Sure, I guess. But yeah, Archetype Plenty's crunch amp is fantastic. I don't know, Rich, you have like a YouTube link or something? So yeah, this is how it would be set up for lead. But if I take the delay out, I do actually like to, is that your YouTube, Rich? But yeah, I actually like to leave a little bit of reverb on my rhythm patches, generally, just because I don't know, I think it sounds a little bit better, unless it's like a super dry metal. All right, so yeah, that's my crunch patch. So Rich, I think I have links blocked in my chat because I don't want people to spam me with stuff. But if you reach out to me on Instagram, the Joe Patterson on Instagram, just shoot me the link there and I'll check it out. Be happy to. All right. So I think I'm gonna wrap this up. I'll wrap this up by going over one of my solos for Luke Mills and the Highway Drifters. I can check it out there too, for sure. But yeah, so one of the songs that I play with Luke Mills and the Highway Drifters, one of the covers that we do is Everybody by Chris Jansen. And I didn't know that song before I started playing with Luke and the guys. It's a very fun song. It's got a very fun intro riff that goes like this. And so this is through Archetype Plenty. It's not through my show rig, so it's not going to sound exactly like it would if I played it on stage with the guys. But this is a fairly similar patch to what I would use. Just a overdriven lead type of, crunch lead type of patch. So the song starts out, it's got this very fun little electric guitar riff, which I do. It goes like this. So that's how the intro goes. And then I just kind of hang out doing the verses. During the verses, I do a little bit of fill stuff. That's pretty much all I do during the verses. And then it gets to the chorus, and I just do a little fun stuff based off the chorus chords. The chorus comes in on a D. And then I just kind of hold that chord while Luke is singing, and then I kind of walk to the next chord with this little... goes back to the D, and then I walk to the next chord with a little more of that fanciness. Then goes to a G there, and then I walk back to the D with more of that song. And then it goes to A briefly, and then back to that little riff. So that riff's the intro, it's the outro. It's used to kind of transition between choruses and verses and stuff. I'm also in, for this song, when I play it with Luke, I am in that bridge pickup split position, coil split on the bridge pickup. And so for the solo for this song, there are some songs that I do with Luke that I improvise more on. I'll go ahead and switch it to this screen a little bit for this part. So there are some songs I do with Luke that I improvise solos more on. I'll have a general idea of what I'm doing, or, I'll know what key I'm in. I'll know what positions are good for me to use. But then there are other songs that I have a whole chorus, not chorus. I have a whole solo written out, and I stick to that every time I do it. This is one of those songs. I have a composed solo. That's what I go to every time. And so I got into it by essentially just taking that intro riff and using it as sort of an on-ramp to the solo. That's an idea I got from... I picked it up from Aaron Marshall, guitarist of Intervals. I went to the Music Masters camp. Actually, it was about a year ago exactly. I was at the Intervals Music Masters camp in New York. It was an awesome time. But Aaron talks a lot about using existing melodies to create solos and to sort of form your ideas and get into a solo using the melody that's already there. So in this case, I use the melody that's already there, that intro riff, to sort of get into the solo, and then it kind of goes a little nuts from there. There's a little bit of a baby sweep in here and some stuff like that. So here's the solo. When it's solo time in this song, this is what happens. Messed that up. That's what I get for thinking I could pull that off while live streaming. Let's try that again. And that's it. That's the solo for Everybody by Chris Jansen. It's got some fun stuff in there. It's got that little baby sweep. That little run down there. And then that kind of blazingly fast at full speed. And there we go. We're resolved and we're back into it. Yeah, so this has gone pretty well, I think. Testing out the streaming setup for guitar stuff. Yeah, it's gone pretty smoothly. A lot more smoothly than some of my like test streams for gaming and stuff when I was first getting into Twitch and all that. So I'm definitely going to do some more guitar streams in the future for those of you who are interested in that stuff. This has been fun. And then you got a little breakdown of my solo for Chris Jansen's Everybody with Luke Mills and the Highway Brothers. So, yeah. All right, well, thanks for hanging out, everybody. I think I'm going to cut the stream off there. But yeah, if you